Anyway, let's get into the story. So sometimes after work, especially on the weekends, my coworkers and I, we go to, a local bar, a local pub, get a few fucking drinks, mate, get a little tipsy out get a fucking night out, mate. And, we'll either go to this place called Lucky Strike, which is like a bowling alley slash arcade slash bar slash restaurant thing. They have this fucking thing called the Nacho Avalanche. It's like just a giant platter of nachos. It's made for like 4 different people, but I eat that shit myself because I'm an absolute workhorse when it comes to putting down calories and just consuming hefty amounts of sustenance. Or we go to this place called Tony C's, which is just a sports bar with 100,000 fucking TVs all over the place, constantly playing like baseball or hockey or whatever sport. You guys get the gist. But boy, do I have a great story for you guys. This happened last Saturday. And we went to this place called Lucky Strike, which is the bowling alley slash arcade slash bar where I get the Nacho Avalanche. Now I walk in and there's a few coworkers there, but I arrive in the middle. There's a few coworkers still to come, but there's a few coworkers there. So there's about 5 of us there in total. I get a fucking tequila cranberry. My buddy makes fun of me because he says that's a woman's drink. Now, I really don't give a fuck if a drink is a woman's drink or not. If I'm really feeling a beer, I'll get a fucking beer. You know what I mean? But I'm really into fruity drinks, and because I guess I'm just a fruity-ass motherfucker. What can I say? Tequila crans are good. You can put them down, and they'll get you absolutely sloshed out of your mind. Now, for a big guy like me, I'm 400 pounds fasted when I wake up in the morning, so it takes about 5 to 10 tequila cranberries in my system to really get me fucking tipsy. So I slammed 2 tequila crans maybe within the first 5 minutes. We're there for about 20 minutes. Then other coworkers arrive. Now I have this one coworker and her name is Betty. And she said she was bringing this guy with her, this guy she's been seeing. And, I was fine with it. Everyone was fine with it because I just assumed he was going to be some chill guy. No, absolutely wrong. He was not a chill guy, but you'll find out later. So she arrives. I'm chilling with my buddy. And this fucking guy walks in, and his name, first of all, I always like to do this in my stories. Let's do a fucking case file on this guy. Fucking maybe 6'2", like he's tall, he's thin, he's got one of those U-shaped hairlines where the hair starts here, goes like this, comes back around for a fucking resurgence, and then comes back. So he's got like a U shape, or like kind of like a W shape as a hairline. He looks like he's in his late 30s, early 40s. He's just dressed up like a classic white guy named Kyle. You know what I mean? He just fits the description of a white guy named Kyle. Now, I'm sitting down and, he comes over and he's like, thanks for, just in a normal, talking like a normal white guy. Like he sounds like old Matt Marauder kind of. Just a nice, young, spry, fucking white guy. That's what he sounds like, okay? All right. So he comes up to me, shakes my hand. Now, I don't get up to shake his hand because, I can't be fucking ass. So I'm sitting down and I'm reaching up and I'm shaking his hand. Then he shakes my buddy's hand next to me. And immediately he starts talking to just us. There's 6 or 7 other people around, but he's locked into me and my buddy. So he's like, yeah, what's your name? I'm like, my name is Matt, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, my name's Kyle. Nice to meet you. He's like, thanks for having me. It's, it's nice to, meet you guys. Then he goes over to my buddy, and my buddy's Egyptian. So he's like, hey, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. He has this Egyptian-ass name that I'm not going to disclose. He's like, my name's fucking, we'll just call him fucking, fucking, what's the pharaoh's name? You know what? We'll just call him Cairo. My buddy Cairo's sitting next to me. He's like, yeah, my name's Cairo. I'm from Egypt. And the dude goes, brother, you're from Egypt, man. Wagwan. Blood clot. He starts talking in a fucking Jamaican accent. Now, I know this sounds weird and it really makes no sense, but from here on out, the whole story that I'm going to tell you is literally going to make no fucking sense. And I'm telling you the exact events that happened. So my buddy tells me he's Egyptian. He's like, my buddy Cairo, he's pretty big. He definitely hits the gymnasium. So this dude Kyle's like, yeah, you're pretty big. Talking in a gym. For the rest of the time, I'm going to be talking as Kyle. The rest of the time, the next 40 minutes that we were at Lucky Strike, he was talking in a Jamaican accent. So I'm going to try to do the Jamaican accent for when Kyle was talking, but sometimes I might forget it. But just know, if I'm speaking as Kyle, it's in the Jamaican accent, even if I'm not doing the Jamaican accent, if I forget about it. But basically he's like, yeah, man, you're pretty big, man. You must have built the pyramids, man. And I know my Jamaican accent is bad, but you're just going to have to deal with it. So he's like, brother, you look like you built the fucking pyramids, mate. Wagwan. So just already he's saying that my Egyptian friend looks like he built the pyramid. So he's getting a little racial with it. But old Matt Marauder is not afraid of one or two racial jokes, at any given moment. Sometimes if they're tasteful, they can be funny. But this was just kind of weird. Like, we just met this guy and he's already fucking calling my buddy, saying that he built the pyramids, that he was a slave that built the pyramid. And it's just like, bro, like, you just met us. If you didn't fucking know no better, I would have just spun your jaw for talking shit about my homeboy over here. But luckily, I'm a calm individual, and I don't go around throwing hands like that. So I let that slide. Even though that's blatant disrespect that he's telling my boy he built the pyramids because he's Egyptian, I let it slide. Then after that, still in the Jamaican accent, he turns to me, he turns his attention to old Matt Marauder. And, those of you who watch the channel, you probably don't know this, but like, I'm kind of just to myself. Like, I can't be fucking bothered sometimes when it comes to people. So I'm just chilling there, enjoying everyone's presence, just engaging a little bit of minding my own business, drinking my tequila cranberry. He turns his attention over to me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, what's up? Because he's just looking at me. I'm like, well, yeah, what's going on? He's like, guys, listen to how crazy he gets with me. He's like, brother, I can tell by how you're sitting, brother, that you lack confidence. And this is how I'm this is how I'm sitting at the Lucky Strike. Now, first of all, how can a motherfucker with goddamn tree trunks like these, you see them, lack confidence? My nuts hang to the floor. One, let's get that straight. I have fucking cross striations on my glutes. I have teardrop quadriceps, and my calves look like a shovel that you would dig a fucking grave in a graveyard with. And my hand is fucking ginormous, as you could see. So there's no way that someone like me would ever lack confidence. And this is how I was sitting. Let me show you guys. I'm sitting like this with my legs spread, my nuts and cock cascading across the seat, and my size 13 feet fully planted on the ground. And then I have my hand like this. Both of my hands are like this. So the only thing that might have lacked confidence, even though, as you could see, I'm so physically imposing as I'm sitting right now, is maybe my arms were a little bit too close in. Maybe my fucking garden hose vein fucking forearms were a little bit too close to a little bit too close in, and I could have been spread out a little bit more. But the dude looks at me and he goes, I can tell by how you're sitting. I can tell by how you're sitting that you're lacking confidence. And he's just looking at me and I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, well, do you lack confidence? And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do the Jamaican accent anymore. Just know Kyle was talking in Jamaican accent. He was like, well, do you lack confidence? And I was like, I don't know, dude. And he was like, see, I could tell these things. I could just tell off rip. Bro, can you tell that in 5 seconds I'm going to fucking rip your jaw off your head like the fucking Kong did to the T-Rex in King Kong movie? Can you tell that I'm about to perform the pen scene from Casino when Joe Pesci stabs that dude with the pen 100,000 times?
Why don't you take that fucking pen and shove it up your ass, you fucking jagoff?
Hey, Kyle, can you tell by how I'm sitting that I'm going to front kick you in the fucking nostrils? Can you tell that? But no, I just keep it calm. I keep it collected. I keep sipping on my drink because I don't want any problems. And the reason I don't want any problems with this guy, Kyle, in particular, is because I'm looking dead in this guy's eyes, and I can kind of see that he is either on cocaine or he's got a screw loose. And a motherfucker like Matt Marauder does not take chances with people who have their screw loose. You just never know what could happen. He could pull out a gun and shoot me in the face. He could find me later on, follow me home, break into my house and beat the shit out of me. I don't want any of that. And I'm looking in this guy Kyle's eyes. And we're talking about a white guy named Kyle who's talking a Jamaican accent because my buddy's Egyptian. He's correlating an Egyptian with a Jamaican accent. So this guy's off the rails. And I know this story that I'm telling you right now makes no sense, but I promise you I'm telling it as it happens. Then he turns the rest of the time after he says I lack confidence, basically flames my whole entire lifestyle. He turns to my buddy for the rest of the time we're there. So now I'm just going to tell what happened basically as I'm an onlooker, as my buddy's getting tormented by this guy Kyle. Now the dude Kyle goes, hey brother, have you ever heard of Brazilian sugar? Have you ever had Brazilian sugar? And my buddy, like the dumbass that he is, goes, oh, you mean the food? No, dude. He's not talking about the food, dude. He's not talking about the food. He's talking about Brazilian sugar as in cocaine. like the shit you sniff and then you run through a wall. He's like, no, man, not the fucking, not sugar like the food. I'm talking about Brazilian sugar, cocaine. And then he pulls his phone out and shows pictures of this like Wikipedia document showing like cocaine in Brazil. Like he's affiliated with that, but he's not. And then he starts showing us pictures on his phone of like WhatsApp messages. And he's like, this is the best weed you're ever going to see. The weed at dispensaries, it's poison. This is the good shit. And my buddy's just like entertaining it. He's like, yeah, man, this looks good. Can you get me some? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And the dude's like, you want some? I can give you 3 pounds by tomorrow. And my buddy's like, no, dude, it's fine, but, thanks. And then the dude's talking about the Brazilian sugar again, blah, blah, blah. Then he pulls out his wallet to, like, show how much money he has. He flashes his money. I was about to rob him, but I held myself back. And then in his wallet, there's this little red piece of yarn that's tied together. And he's like, you see this piece of yarn? The Dalai Lama gave this to me. You know the Dalai Lama? And then my buddy's like, yeah, I know the Dalai Lama. And then Kyle goes, yeah, you know him personally? And my buddy's like, no, dude, obviously not, but I know who he is. So this dude Kyle's absolutely tapped. He's trying to convince us that he's like with the Dalai Lama, but also a cocaine and a weed dealer. And then he's telling us about how he had problems with this guy in Chicago, and then he flew to New York and then settled it in Florida and like killed a guy in Florida. He's telling us all this shit. And we just met him, and he's still keeping the Jamaican accent. And then there was one point where he just locks eyes with me. I'm just looking at this guy, and he starts shaking his head up and down while maintaining eye contact with me for like 30 seconds straight. He's just, pretend you're Kyle's POV. He's just looking at me, and he's going like this at me. Just looking at me like this for 30 seconds, and I am speechless, dude. So I'm just locked in with this guy. My heart starts fucking palpitating a little bit because I'm starting to feel like he's going to just reach out and rip my throat out or something, or give me curse me or something. But the way his eyes, he just had those crazy eyes. And then he finally breaks eye contact with me and just gets back to going, talking about how, all the people that he works with are fake gangsta and he's a real gangster, and he doesn't like talking and associating with fake gangstas. And guess where this guy works? How this guy's talking, you would think this guy works as a fucking I don't know, he's like a kingpin drug dealer, or, an arms salesman, or I don't know, like you would think he was a top dog, right? He fucking flips burgers at the Capitol Burger. He's a burger chef. He flips burgers on a grill, puts cheese on them, puts lettuce, onion, and tomato on them, and then serves them out to people. And he's talking all this hot shit while he's flipping burgers like he's SpongeBob or some shit. So that's how I knew that he was kind of just maybe either a meth head or a coke head that was just losing his mind at the moment, and that he wasn't really a gangster like he claimed he was. So my guard kind of dropped down a little bit. And then all of a sudden, time had flew because I was locked in with this guy. All of a sudden, an hour passes, and this guy's just talking our ear off about Brazilian sugar, the Dalai Lama, how he sells weed, how he killed a guy in Florida, and how people are fake gangsta. And then the people at Lucky Strike, they're like, all right, you guys got to go. Like, we're about to close soon. So we get up to go. And this dude, he was the whole time, this dude Kyle was referring to himself as chef. He was calling himself chef, saying people call him chef. And then in the third person, as the guy from Lucky Strike tells us to leave, he's like, no, we ain't going nowhere. Chef ain't going nowhere unless he wants to. Like, talking about himself. And I know this story's weird. I know it doesn't make sense. But this is literally what's happening. And then we're like, all right, Chef, you can fucking stay, because I know Chef doesn't go anywhere unless Chef wants. But we're going to go because I don't want to be disrespectful to these people and just stay here when they're trying to close. And then as we're getting up to leave, Chef gets up to leave, or Chef a.k.a. Kyle gets up to leave. He leans over to me and he starts freestyling to me and telling me how he has a studio and how he's a rapper. And this was his freestyle, and I remember it bar for bar. And it doesn't even make sense. He goes, fucking BMW 7 Series, 2-seater, 2 heaters. Now, those of you who know cars know that a BMW 7 Series is one of the biggest cars that they make, and it's not a 2-seater. So the bars don't even make sense. Now, granted, 2 seaters, 2 heaters is kind of a bar. I'm not going to lie. Kyle had that. But why the fuck is this guy freestyling me on the way out? And now at this point, after he's freestyling to me, I'm like, damn, I'm talking him up. I'm like, damn, that's a good freestyle, because I don't want him to stab me. So I'm talking up his freestyle, and he's like, yeah, there's a lot more where that came from. Just take down my number. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want this guy's, I don't want to deal with this guy. So I'm like, nah, you take my number. I give him a fake fucking number, and then that's it. That's the last time I see or hear from him. And I was just mesmerized. I was in shock. It was the weirdest encounter I've ever had with a person in my entire 22 years of living on this planet. It was absolutely insane. It was shocking. It was scary. It was hilarious. So that's really the story of Kyle, the white Jamaican murderer, SoundCloud rapper, coke dealer, gangsta. So I hope you liked that one.
Fucking beer they put in now. Sure, but saying you in here to rob me now? Then you fucking knocking everybody's dick in all night? Huh? You been beating all the customers tonight, motherfucker? Huh? Jag off. Hit me. Take this stiff and pound it up your fucking ass. Hit me again. Take this one and stick it up your sister's ass. Hit me again. That's it. Keep looking at him, you fucking dummy. If you had any fucking heart at all, you'd be out fucking stealing for a living. Hit me again.